11 years or so, we're very good at providing the assessments for Latinos in Spanish right here inside the campus of the UCC. But our diagnosis that we do and the service is only as good as the person coming in to see us. A couple of years ago, several years ago, we added a component to the Latino Geriatric Center, the memory clinic, that we could send the nurse and the social worker into the home. We call that the mobile memory clinic. It's hard for them to turn our team away when they're at the door, ¿verdad? And they're Latinas and they look like them, speak the same language. It was pretty effective on engaging them to get them to participate in the initial screenings. It's important to get those initial screenings because if you wait too long, as we all know, dementia, especially Alzheimer's, is a very progressive disease.
We learned that there is a group of organizations working together. Can you tell us about more about this?
In the peak of the pandemic, when we cannot see our patients in person, the team, the physician, the neurologist from Medical College of Wisconsin, the nurse and social worker, and the other project staff, we put our heads together. What can we do? What can we do to at least continue providing assessments and diagnosis and provide what services we can in education? So we decided to experiment with virtual telehealth. We weren't sure if it would work because we had never done it before, and it was kind of new, and especially with Latinos in the language and people that not feel comfortable with virtual services. But after a couple of months, we were able to get it going. We were able to provide the families with the tablets that have internet connection on them because many of our families don't have good internet at home, if at all. We provided them with microphones and earphones for the elders who can't hear that well, lights, and then we showed them how to use it. And then the social worker would run out to the house, put it at the front steps, ring the doorbell, and come back to her house, took a couple of hours, and then go back and pick it up. And then the follow-up appointment was the doctor was repeating the same process again. It worked pretty well with some limitations, but enough to tell us, when this pandemic does calm down, this might be something we continue providing. So we now have good relationships and partnership with Waukesha County Asian Disabilities Resource Center, Kenosha County, they call ADRCs, Racine County ADRC, and even ProHealth Hispanic Center from Waukesha jumped in. So they are our partners in this new model where we are providing them the equipment and they're helping us outreach and finding the people for us.
What are the goals at this point?
We're keeping the mobile model yet because there's patients, especially in the Milwaukee area here, that maybe the dementia is too advanced for them to be able to look at a camera like you and I are talking right now. They can't handle that. So we will still send the team to the house when needed to do the home assessment and then bring them to see the doctor at a later date. We continue to keep the clinic model because there's patients that need to be seen in the clinic. There's just no way they can handle a virtual or a home assessment. But we've also now added the education classes for Latino caregivers. We do those classes in Spanish virtually. It's 4 classes that anybody can participate. And as you know, with Zoom, you can come in from anywhere. That's kind of the expansion that's taking place. So we're starting year number 2, Patricia, where we're going to be doing more strategic outreach with them to find those Latinos in those communities and provide these virtual services for them into the next 4 years. The long-term plan will say this is very valuable for us. We will help you keep this going beyond the grant period. So they will hopefully help us find other grants to support it or make themselves and their staff and space available to continue expanding the ability to reach more Latinos earlier on in the dementia phases.
Al, what are the numbers? Is it difficult to reach out these patients? What are you discovering in these, I will say, exploring stages of your project?
As you mentioned, yes, we're very fortunate to have our own adult day center that we have here. So we have a place that we can offer to people that mostly Milwaukee County that can come for day services during the day while their families are at work. But that's only Milwaukee County. So that's something we're going to have to work with them in the next 4 years to see what we can help them develop in their communities, or can we share something, or can they share something with that? But we're able to serve up to 80 people in our day center. I'm sure their numbers aren't as big, but they're going to do something similar. We know that in Wisconsin, I think right now, the estimate is about 100,000 people in Wisconsin have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. By about 130 to 150,000. That's us baby boomers that get into that age. The dementia shows up like 7 years earlier in our population than the Anglo population. So we have to get ready for that. I think we're just at the beginning, Patricia.
How do you find out who are candidates for this project? How do you find the patients?
That's why we depend on our good partners in Racine and Kenosha and Waukesha and Hispanic Health Resource Center. They're coming on board this year. They know their community. So through their aging services that they have, they will be sharing the information about our clinic. We provided flyers in English and Spanish with them. We are taping like webinars in English and Spanish that they can share with their provider network. We hopefully will share stories like today with them that they can pass around the Latino community. And they in turn are reaching out to local champions, their local volunteers, churches, businesses that where these Latinos work. And somebody hears about this program, say, you know what? I have a mother at home. My dad at home has it. So the idea is they will contact their local disability resource center or their local partner, and they refer them to us.
When should people look for help? Why the diagnosis is important to be done earlier?
As you and I know, as we get a little older, we start forgetting things, right? Here, well, so we forget our keys here, we forget where we parked our car, we forget our lunch at home, right? But we eventually remember, right? We use little Post-it notes to remind ourselves. So some of that is normal for aging. Well, that's just humans, no matter who we're talking about. Most of that behavior is normal for aging. It's when we see that our parent doesn't remember they have a car, or they may not even know what a Post-it note is, okay? Or they may get lost coming back from where they usually go every day, remembering their son or daughter's names or even their spouse's names. Or when the behavior starts showing negative impact on their health, forgetting to take their medications, they're not wanting to eat, they don't want to bathe, or they are walking out of the house and getting lost, not able to handle cooking, like with the stove and things like that. So when those behaviors start showing abnormal behavior that's not normal for aging, that's when you want to talk to the family doctor. This is happening with my mom and dad, or if you're not there, ask mom and dad to bring it up to the doctor, which they usually won't, but as much as we can to try to inform the family doctor. That's usually the first point of entry. Most of our referrals come from family doctors, but as family members, you don't have to wait for that. You can also call like the Alzheimer's Association here in Milwaukee, or you can call our clinic, 414-649-2808, and our social worker will talk to the family member. Thank you, first of all, for bringing attention to this. We're very excited, and we think it's got potential. Our funding source out of UW-Madison is very interested to see how this project develops over the next few years, because I think they believe, and we believe, that this can be replicated in other parts of Wisconsin. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sons and daughters, wives, grandsons, that are going through this kind of situation. So please don't hesitate, because the time it's important to get that help sooner so you can start planning ahead before things will get worse.
Gracias por todo, mami. Estuviste muy bien hoy, ¿ok?
Sí.
Y gracias por habernos dado todo lo que nos has dado. El amor,
Sí.
la educación, el cariño y la paciencia. ¿Ok?
Sí.